All right, welcome to the podcast. We're here on how a Wambtac ghostwriters become an authority behind authors. Welcome to the Founders Files, brings together outstanding founders, innovators to share their stories, insights, and trends shaping the industry. My name is Derek Briggs. I'm host and sponsor of this. My business is to help scale small and mid-sized businesses to help their ROI grow, is what I do. Today, I am joined with Claudia Suzanne, founder and president partner, potential partner of Wambtac Ghostwriters.
Wambtac,
And
not yet a household word, but we're working on it.
okay, and we're going to help you with that, Claudia, for sure. A pioneer in organization and evaluating ghostwriting into a respected professional craft. Claudia is also a best-selling author, educator, and thought leader who has helped define standards in modern ghostwriting. We'll dive into how she built her firm, what drives growth in writing, editing world, and how she helped the next generation of professionals turn their expertise to impact. Claudia, welcome and great to have you here today.
Thanks for having me, Derek. I appreciate it.
All
You're a
right,
little bit wobbly.
I am.
Your mic
Well, that's
doesn't
what they.
like
That's what they.
sticking on time.
And I think that's what they say about me every day sometimes too. I'm a little wobbly. So, how did Wamtech ghostwriters begin? What was the inspiration behind the professional ghostwriting career path?
Well, I couldn't play the drums anymore.
Oh, okay,
And when I couldn't play the drums anymore, I had to do something. So
okay,
my husband, who's my keyboard player, and our road manager wrote a book called For Musicians Only. This was a long time ago, possibly before you were born. And
okay,
long time ago, before there were ISBNs, before there was a Bowker, before there was a lot of things. Right after
okay.
MTV got started, and it was the first book ever plugged on MTV, called For Musicians
Wow.
Only. Says, yeah, I'm
Okay.
old. I'm old, I'm crotchety, and that's the way it works. Um,
Okay.
so when I realized how little money we made off of that book, which was a New York Times bestseller and a Grammy Pulse bestseller, and sold out across the country in 2 weeks, and sent us royalty checks every 6 months for years, which they tell you won't happen because once you get your advance, that's the whole thing. No, we got royalty checks. It was a big book, and it made bags of groceries, bags of groceries for us every 6 months. So I decided I had to do something else. I knew how to write, kind of, sort of. I thought I was learning how to write, so I set about to figure out how to make money as a writer. It wasn't going to be being an author. It was going to be helping others put their books together because they would pay me for that. And it took me quite a while to learn how to do that. We're talking, this was back in the late 1980s. I'm old. Um, by the time I got to late 1990s and early 2000s, I knew enough about ghostwriting that when I was going to die, spoiler alert, I did not die, but my death was imminent at the time. So I
Okay.
started teaching other people how to do what I do so that I wouldn't leave my clients in the lurch. And that grew, and I got very excited about it because it was fun, and I enjoyed teaching, and I enjoyed deconstructing how I do what I do. And it grew, and it grew, and it grew. In 2013, after teaching ghostwriting certificate program for I don't remember how many years, I guess that many years because I don't count, I don't do math. In 2013, we were invited into Cal State Long Beach in their continuing and professional education college, where in 2018 we won an UPSEA award for outstanding non-credit program, which is a pretty
Okay.
prestigious award. I didn't know it at the time, but it was really cool. And we disconnected from Cal State Long Beach in 2024 because
Okay.
the government and the powers that be wanted us to collect more information from our students than I was willing to do.
Okay. Well, that's understandable.
So over the
So
years,
what?
I have launched more professional ghostwriting careers around the world than anyone else in history, and that plus $10 will get me a coffee at Starbucks.
Well, and in 2013, you did the Ghostwriters United International Conference, so that's something to be proud of as well.
Yes,
So that's
it was the
interesting to
first
know.
international ghostwriters conference. There have been others since, not by me, because it was a
Right.
lot of work, took a lot of time, cost a lot of money,
Hmm.
but it was fun, and I did get to meet an incredible number of ghostwriters and a bunch of our students, and yeah, we had a great time. And that was part of the educational progress.
Okay. So what were some of the biggest challenges in getting traditional publishing and freelance communities to take ghostwriting seriously and structured profession?
That's a damn good question.
I,
Let me explain.
I try. I really try to get the best questions for you.
The word ghostwriter has been so misconstrued and misused for so long. When it started 100 years, 1,000 years ago, um, back in the day, when I first started ghostwriting, there was a guy named, I don't remember his name, doesn't matter, who went around the country counting the professional ghostwriters, the people who were actually ghostwriting for a living, writing books. At that time, the word ghostwriter meant writing books, okay, which is what
Mhm.
I still look at it as meaning. When he found me, I was number 45 in the
Okay.
country. At this
Okay.
point, there are tens of thousands of people who call themselves ghostwriters, but to be perfectly honest, most of them are ghostwriting content, which is really just
Right.
another, it's just writing, okay?
Right.
And then ghostwriting got a bad name because a lot of doctors were using ghostwriters to write books and not really paying attention to what was going into the books. And by doctors, I mean medical doctors. And
Right.
so ghostwriting got a bad name for a little while in the
Okay.
mid 1990s when people were just letting other people put their names on material that somebody else wrote. But ghostwriting really, the proper name, a definition of ghostwriting is understanding the art, the business, and the politics. Okay, the art, the craft, the business, and the politics of how to put together a book that says what the author wants it to say, exactly the way they want to say it, but crafted in such a way that it resonates beyond them and their circle of influence.
Okay.
Okay?
Understood. Yeah.
Ghostwriting is a profession. It is not writing. Ghostwriting is not the same as writing. It's not the same as writing. Ghostwriting is not the same as writing. Writing and ghostwriting are not the same. I can repeat that a couple other ways and put the emphasis in a few other positions, but you get the idea. Too
Yeah.
many people think that ghostwriting is writing and putting somebody else's name on the material, and that is not ghostwriting. I
Okay.
do get a tendency to get a little bit emphatic about this stuff.
Just a little bit. But that's a good thing. I mean, that's your passion. I mean, that's what you have to be.
Yes. And why it's important today, you might have read about this in a paper or two. Life has changed, and politics have entered a lot of areas of life that used to be off limits to politics.
Yes.
And at this point, ghostwriting is the answer to combating historical whitewashing and cultural erasure.
Mhm.
Because we're the ones who know how to talk to the people who have the vital stories, the important stories, the information, the founder information, and get that information that normally would not be published by traditional publishers, would not be recognized, would not be given the credence it needs to be given, because those people do not know how to write books, because why in the world would they? writing a book is a specialized art. Why would
Mhm.
anybody learn to write a book if they did not have to, or if they did not have a passion for writing books? So,
Mhm.
yeah, ghostwriting is essential today, and one of our initiatives is expanding ghostwriter training around the world as much as we can to those areas that are underrepresented, underrepresented. I'm old. Shut up. And, and whose stories are not being told. The indigenous stories, the
Right.
minority stories, the disenfranchised stories.
Mhm.
Those stories need to come out. And I'm not just talking about fiction. I'm also talking about memoir. I'm also talking about the people who were the basic founders of the countries that are coming out from colonization, like Tanzania, like um, Kenya, like everyone that I can't think of at this very moment. But you get the idea.
Yes.
Ghostwriters are the we're the bridge
Mhm.
from the
Yes.
stories that need to be written to the people who will publish and distribute and promote them.
Yes.
Did that answer your question? I tend to talk
It
a little.
did. You definitely answered the question and how important it is about the ghostwriting and all those different areas that is important, which brings me into the next question is how do you ensure consistent voice ethics quality across different ghostwritings and client projects?
Oh, another good question. And you want a 25 word less answer, don't you? Okay, let's take
No,
it from the top.
this is your time.
All right, I teach ghostwriting professional designation program to ensure that the people that I refer clients to, okay, understand ghostwriting rules. There are 5 rules to ghostwriting. There are
Okay.
10 ghostwriting points on our code of ethics. And I make sure that they understand it. I also make sure that they understand how to maintain voice, which is not by it's not instinct. Yes, a good ghostwriter, the best ghostwriters, the oldest ghostwriters, the people like me, we've been doing it so long, we do have those instincts. But suppose you're starting out and you don't have those instincts. We have a process for it. Okay? We can show you how to maintain the author's voice. We can show you how to maintain the author's intent. We can show you how to maintain the author's perspective, which is
Mhm.
really important. We can show you how to keep your, I'm not going to swear, you can cut it out later. We can show you how to keep your fucking ass off the author's page. Okay? Which is the biggest problem of people who claim that they're ghostwriters but do not know the difference between writing and ghostwriting. We will show you how to keep your words, your thoughts, your perspective, your knowledge, your everything off the page and make it the author's page, but at the same time, make sure that it's developed enough and expanded enough and expounded on enough and is crafted well enough to be a marketable literary property. I will repeat that. Marketable literary property. That's not a first draft. It's not a second draft. It's the marketable draft. And most people do not understand the difference between those 3 drafts. They think if they've rewritten their book 16 times, if the ghostwriter, has gone back and forth with the author and made sure that the book says exactly what they want it to say, exactly the way they want it said, that is the final draft, and it is not. It is the final first draft.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because most people who are ghostwriting today do not understand the book business. And that's another thing we teach. In
That's
fact, we
great.
have a seminar coming up on the 23rd of this month, Publishing World Realities, which I'll be happy to send you a link to.
That'd be great.
We're going
That'd
to
be
talk
awesome to
about
send it
what
to.
going to talk about how to not get ripped off. One of the things that pisses me off the most, there I go swearing again, one of the things that pisses me off the most is writers and authors getting ripped off by the system and by other writers and authors who think they know what they're doing because they put up a book on Amazon and it earned a bestseller sticker, and that means nothing. Maybe made them back $200. But consider the amount of time and energy they put in creating that book. It was well over $200 worth of gut.
Yes. And that's the thing they don't always take into consideration is your time and effort that you put into it. They don't take that into consideration. And that's the part that's so important. So, a question for you. You're speaking to an audience of writing, editing, content founders. What opportunities exist in collaboration with growth within the space?
You know what? Could you move that thing again? Because I didn't hear a lot of those words.
Okay. You're speaking to an audience of writing, editing, and content founders. What opportunities exist for collaboration and growth within the space?
Okay, another great question. Because I'm on TikTok all the time. I watch videos after videos and I repost, and I love being on TikTok. I like being on YouTube. I like being on social media. I like seeing those videos. Some of those people are providing amazing information in an incredibly ephemeral platform. You put up your video, 3 seconds later, it's gone. It's been scrolled past. Those people need to be writing books. They've got a lot of important information. They have unique information. They have insights and perspective that nobody else is talking about. They have history and culture and just solid info and that nobody else is talking about, and they're sharing it in such a way that nobody's going to know about it in 3.5 minutes because it's gone.
Yes.
That's what makes books important. So those content people should be working with ghostwriters to solidify and that's not the word I'm looking for, codify their information so that it's in a permanent state. Because look at all of the books that people are not reading because they're not well done. But look at all of the information that we have since people have been writing books that people read and reread and reread, and they go back and they learn something new and they learn something new and they pass it down. The very first book I ever wrote, the one that was a big seller, okay, for musicians only, I got an email from somebody about 5 months ago. I think the book came out in 1989. You weren't born. 1989. Okay? And like I say, it was the first book ever plugged on MTV. And 4 or 5 months ago, I got an email from somebody who said, I had to give away my copy of For Musicians Only because it's still the only book that covers everything you talk about. Why aren't you putting out another edition?
Really?
Books have lasting power. Books can make a difference. Think about all of the scriptures of all of the religions in the world. Do you think
Yes.
the guys that they're talking about were the guys that had the quill in their hand? Mm-mm. Mm-mm. All of those books were ghostwritten. Every single scripture was ghostwritten. Nobody wants to think about that, but they were written by people who were not the ones who lived the life. Muhammad did not pick up his pen to write the Quran. And if you read the Quran, you know, I'm just a dabbler. If you read the Quran, it was obviously written by 2 different people. If you read the Torah, it was obviously written by a whole bunch of different people. If you read the Christian Bible, once again, written by a bunch of different people, and we don't know who they are. We know they were not the people. I mean, those names were pulled out of the air. They were anglicized decades, centuries later, ghostwriters have been around forever. We're the ones who codify the information. We're the ones who make sure that the culture is saved, that it's passed on paper. Now see, Cherokee wrote out their history. They had a language, they had a written language, they wrote out everything, and when the Europeans came to America, they destroyed it all because they didn't make a whole bunch of copies. They made one copy because they thought it was only for them, and therefore it was only for them. And now all of that culture, all of that history is gone. But we live in 2025. And those people, that community, should be writing its history. Okay?
They should. I agree with you.
The indigenous populations in every single country in the world should be writing their history. And if they don't have writers who are, I want to write a book, they need ghostwriters.
Right.
That's why I'm as passionate about this as I am.
You see, which is wonderful. I mean,
More than 25 words.
and that's the thing is having someone like you on here that shows the passion, and that's what we look for, and showing that this is very important. And like you said, the stories and everything that is out there that needs to be shared is very important, and that's why I do this so that it can get this out to more and more people, and you can share your story with everybody as well. And that's the most important thing. I feel that's why I do this, is for people that are passionate like yourself to share your ideas, share what you do, share that there's people out there that can help them create their stories and be true to what they're actually doing. So it's very nice to hear. I'm going on to another question for you.
Okay, but
So
you're
many
being
more.
really wonky. It's kind of the same question you asked them from the other side of the coin, so let's take it from the other side of the coin. Um, they're already creating content. They may be creating throwaway books, what in the music business we used to call them throwaway tunes. Throwaway books that do not have the substance, do not have the weight to sustain, to actually make money. Maybe they put them up on Amazon and they win their bestseller sticker, and it doesn't mean anything because it's still not going to reap any benefits. Basically, all that content. Let's think about content. Do you mind if I think? Okay. So here's how this works. We have so much social media, and I love playing with social media. I do it in the evening when I want to wind down from working. I play with social media. I go from site to site and listen. And what I find is people very passionately saying the exact same thing as the last person I heard. And then somebody else comes along and says pretty much the same thing, and they even have the same perspective, they have the same everything. They're not being, they're being an also ran. They're being a member of the chorus, okay? They're not breaking through. They're all being a chorus line, you know? And all of those pictures, if you remember the movie The Chorus Line, at the end you knew all of those people because you watched the movie, but they were all the same. They were all dressed the same. They all did the same moves. They all sang the same songs. They had the same exact kicks. They were all the same. And from the middle of the audience, nobody could tell the difference between one and the other because they were all the same. And in today's world, the push for conformity is enormous. What the powers that be in the political arena, in the religious arena, in the educational arena, in just about every arena that you can think of, it's conform, be the same, conform, be the same. But nothing moves when everything is the same. Nothing, there's no push, evolutionary push, when everything is the same, when everybody's thinking the same, when everyone's saying the same. So if I was going to give people who are content creators some advice, it would be figure out what your distinct color is. Figure out what makes you as a penguin stand out from all of the other penguins. Okay? Remember what was the name of that movie, Happy Feet? Okay, he stood out because he liked to dance. He didn't look like all the other penguins, and he's the one who made the difference. All right? It's not going along. It's not complying in advance. It's not being part of the crowd. I know we all want to be part. We all want to be in the community, but communities need leaders. And if you're trying to lead by saying the same thing as everyone else, you're not leading. You're just being in that chorus line. You're being the third alto in the chorus, in the 120 voice chorus. Nobody knows you. Nobody hears you. You're not making a difference. You want to make a difference? Figure out who you are and what about you is unique. One of my favorite books, written by Ira Levin 109 years ago, is This Perfect Day. He wrote Stepford Wives. He wrote the thing with I forget, Rosemary's Baby. But his most profound, as far as I'm concerned, book was This Perfect Day, because it was all about conformity. It was more about conformity than 1984, than Brave New World. It really nailed conformity, and it's very much noticeable in today's society, especially in America, and I suspect in most Western cultures. It's the idea that in order to get along, you have to be the same. And at the moment, we have politicians around the world saying, if you do not conform, if you do not comply, if you do not follow the path I am showing you, then you are an enemy of the state. Well, it's the enemies of the state that make the difference. Throughout history, since the beginning of time, it's the people who said, I don't think so. I really don't think so. Let's try it this way. That made the difference. All religion is based on somebody saying, I don't think so. Let's try it this way. And they all say the same thing, and they all have the same common denominator. And whether they want to believe it or not, they all had LGBTQ people involved. They all certainly had non-binary people involved, because it takes a non-binary mind to come up with the concept of do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That's a non-binary thought. And it's in every single religion, and it's in every single philosophy, even when it's flipped around the other way. In Judaism, I think it is, that which you find hateful, do not do to your fellow. It's all the same. It takes a non-binary mind to think that. So be that person who thinks that thought, who takes the content that you're putting out right now and makes it different. Be the person who can say, you know what? I don't think so. Why don't we think that this way? Why don't we try it that way? There are some wonderful, wonderful minds out there making fantastic content on every single solitary social media. But the reason that people doom scroll is because Nat said same thing, same thing, same thing, same thing, same thing, same thing. And I stop when somebody's saying something different. There's a marvelous woman on TikTok and YouTube who's talking about excuse me, Black history, women in Black history. And she gives these little vignettes, and they're fantastic. And I even put in the comments, where is the book on this? I want this book. If you're talking about something most people don't know, now is the time to write the book. And don't write the book in a weekend. Don't write the book in 30 days. Don't think that you're going to throw it together in 3 weeks and it's going to be a bestseller. Talk to somebody who knows how to actually write a book. We are putting out a series of book writing classes. We usually only teach ghostwriters, but we're putting out a new series of book writing classes for people who want to write nonfiction that makes a difference, for people who want to write memoirs that actually resonate, and for people who want to write fiction that don't sag in the middle and actually have a message. Be the messenger. That's what I'm telling content creators. Stop being content creators and start being a messenger. Did I answer your question? Changing everything, isn't it? Because people think it's I'm not sure what people think it is, and I'm going to speak very carefully at this point. AI is the ultimate Encyclopedia Britannica. Okay? It is a resource. It is a cheat if you think you're going to get away with writing something. I mean, maybe you can do it in business. If you try to do it in school and you get away with it, you are cheating yourself, because it means you're not learning a fucking thing. Excuse me. It means you're not learning. I'm old, I'm crotchety, I swear. What do you want from me? It means you're not learning. You are being complacent. You are complying. You are trying to just be, like I said, just like everybody else. You're just conforming. The more people conform, the less people are individualistic, the less trouble people make, the more those who are in power in education and politics and religion get. They get more power by people conforming. So it comes back again to being a messenger. You're not going to be a messenger if you're using AI, because all you're doing is using the words of someone else. There's no message there. There might have been with the original, but the original is lost and gone forever. Dreadful sorry, Clementine. That's the way it works. If you're going to be a messenger, you use AI as a resource. If I want to find, what was the name of that goddamn song? Excuse me. What was the name of that song? I'm going to look it up. I'm going to use my Copilot or my Chat GPT, because there it is, okay? If I can't remember what the exact quote was from Hamlet, I'm going to, instead of pulling out Hamlet and trying to remember what page it's on, I'm going to use that resource. That's what AI is to me. It is the ultimate resource, all right? But it's just a resource, and I'm going to think about the answer it gives me. I'm going to double check it a million ways to hell and gone. I'm going to make sure that the person that said the quote is actually the person that says the quote. I'm going to make sure it actually is the quote. I'm going to take it as any other resource. I'm going to double check it and triple check it and quadruple check it and whatever the nth degree check it is. I'm going to check it. And I'm not going to just use it. And if I am going to quote it, I'm going to quote it. as per ChatGPT. That's how it should be. And of course, there will be people who protest that because there's always somebody that protests everything. Because in all the universe, there is no such thing as a one sided coin. So whatever you hold dear, somebody else holds dearly against. There's just no way around that. All right? That's just the way it is. And so somebody's always going to protest, somebody's always going to be offended, somebody's always going to say, no, you can't do it that way. You want to be on the right side of history when you say, no, let's don't do it that way. You want to be on the side saying, let's think of this a different way. You want to be on the side saying, maybe that's a possibility. You want to be on the side that says, why not? Who's it going to hurt? If it's going to hurt somebody, then don't do that. If it's not going to hurt somebody, then let's think about it. Let's have a conversation. Let's write a book about it, because books have staying power if it's not a throwaway book. If you know what you're doing, if you understand the difference between a first draft, a second draft, and a marketable literary property. I keep coming back to that because it's very near and dear to my heart. Because I hate going on into a bookstore. Well, not so much into bookstores, but I hate going on Amazon and paying money for something that I think is going to be interesting, and then find out that they have no idea how to write a book. They just wrote up their content. That doesn't do me any good. It's just as ephemeral on the page as it is flip, 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 flip on the screen. Okay, as I said, we're trying to get Ghostwriting Professional Designation Program, which is the only program of its type in the world. It is a master's level program. You do not have to have a degree to take it, because it's not about an academic situation. It's about the intensity of the information we're going to share. And we need to get that around the world. We need to get it into Tanzania. We need to get it into Pakistan. We need to get it into Singapore. We need to get it into New Zealand. We need to get it into Brazil. We need to get it as far as wide as possible, because what we want to do is help people. We need ghostwriters in the communities that are being underserved and underrepresented. I keep saying that word wrong. I will try it one more time. Underrepresented. That came out right for once. We need ghostwriters in those communities to help their community get those books out. So that's what we're doing in 2026. We're calling it a Global DEI Ghostwriting Initiative. We are looking for sponsors, absolutely. We were looking for investors, but there's no wonderful equity turnaround to this. It's education, and education doesn't pay. But it's important. It's important right now. It will be more important in the next 10 years. It's going to be exponentially important as the inequities of the world polarize more and more and more. We have to be able to get the voices of the people at the bottom out to the people in the middle, because it's the middle that usually makes the changes. It's never the people at the top that got what they want. Fuck the rest of you. Okay, sorry about that. And it's not the people at the bottom because they don't have the wherewithal. It's the people in the middle who make the changes. This is historical fact. Look it up. Or don't. I don't care. But we need those stories out to those people in the middle, and they're going to be picking up the books and reading them. And they're not going to pick up a book and reading it if it's not well crafted, if it doesn't have something fresh to say, something from a fresh perspective, something from a fresh, not another, oh, woe is me, or another, I beat cancer. Everybody is beating cancer these days. I don't give a shit anymore. It's not that I don't care about your plight. I've lived with multiple sclerosis for 57 fucking years. How many people want to hear about that? Nobody. It's not that kind of thing. We want books that give us the real history and the real cultural information. Those are more important than the romances that everybody's writing and the sci-fis that everybody's writing, unless they are writing with a purpose in mind. Because there are three kinds of books. Thank you for asking. Okay, the first one is a public book, which is, I wrote a book, I want everybody to read it, I'm putting it out on Amazon, it's going to be and nobody reads it and you don't make any money and isn't that great. Then there are the purpose books, and that's, I have something to say, it's going to help people, I'm going to write this book because I want to give this program, the book is part of the program, I want to give these speeches, and the book is going to help me get to the places where I can give the speeches. I want to make a difference in the world, and the book is going to help me make a difference in the world. Now, that can be fiction, it can be memoir, it can be nonfiction, it can be anything, but it has a purpose. It has a message. Were the original Star Treks, with Gene Roddenberry's original Star Trek series a purpose series? Goddamn better know it was. He didn't do that just because I think I'm going to make a lot of money. They were all little moral plays. They were all little morality plays, every single one. And he carried that through the entire Star Trek series. Not so much, I think, the more recent ones, and not so much Star Wars, but the original, Gene Roddenberry and what was the guy who took over for him? I don't remember, it doesn't matter. The idea was every single story had a purpose. It had a moral. It was an extension in fiction of Mr. Rogers. Every Mr. Rogers show had a little moral, had a little lesson, didn't it? Okay, Captain Kangaroo was the same thing. Well, we need more of that. We need purpose books. The third kind of book, by the way, is a legacy book, which is really just for your family and so that your grandchildren know that you did something in your life that they had no idea that you did. And they'll pass it down to their grandchildren, and nobody's going to read it past your kids and your friends and your circle of influence. But that's okay, because you put your soul and your heart on paper, and that in and of itself is an amazingly cathartic and very soul-satisfying endeavor. And that's another reason we write books. For the catharsis, for the soul satisfaction, for the personal feeling of accomplishment. I've been here. I've left my time stamp. Books are a time stamp. They have always been that way. This is how life was right now. It's not what life is going to be then. It's not like what life was back there, but it's what life is right now. And for that reason alone, we need well-crafted books, because well-crafted books are the only ones anybody's going to read. Did I answer that question? Ghostwritertraining.com. Ghostwritertraining.com. Wambtac.com. Yes. Wambtac.com. Not yet a household name. And we do that's under, we're revamping that, but we have it's viable site, and if you want to get in touch with us, if you want to join our mailing list so that you get our notices, so that you get our newsletters, we put out two newsletters every single week, at least two. One is book business news and commentary for people who want to stay up to date with the reality of the book business, not the consumer version of the book business, or the I have a book on Amazon, so I know everything there is to know about the book business kind of version of the book business. And we put out writing biz tips and answers for people who are actively trying to ghostwrite, actively trying to write books, want answers, want ideas that they're not going to find anywhere else. One of the reasons that we won the Upseer Outstanding Nonfiction Non-Credit Award is because we offer, Ghostwriting Professional Designation Program offers information, techniques, tactics, psychology, and politics that you can't find anywhere else. Yeah, it is. Please stop conforming. That's what I'm asking you to do. The secret to life is to recognize that your purpose here on the world is to help as many other people as you possibly can. And it doesn't matter if you get credit for it. Just, Mr. Rogers says, be kind. I'm going to say be helpful. My pleasure. Thank you for having me. Bye. You want me to leave?